let's hear from Representative Ferdinand Hernandez. Sir?
Good afternoon, Chairman, and to the committee and to DOTR family and to the new Secretary, OIC Secretary Giovanni Lopez. Magandang hapon po sa DOTR family. Alam ko pagod na po kayo. Few questions lang naman. Unang-una, gusto ko rin i-congratulate si Secretary Vince Dizon, no? For a short period of time. He has made a lot of yung performance siya for a short period of time naramdaman ng buong DOTR at saka ng publiko. Unfortunately, it was cut short. So DOTR's loss is DPW's gain. And of course, with the new secretary, hindi naman siya bago sa DOTR. So DOTR is in good hands. So I have few questions lang naman. Alam niyo yung port and airport, I'm from Soc-Sargent area, Region 12. Yung port tsaka airport is vital in the growth of a certain region. And it does not only facilitate trade, but it creates jobs. And it also helps in promoting tourism. So in the 18th Congress, that was my last term, I had the opportunity to talk to GM Santiago, no, kay Jay, and I was asking that it's about time to modernize the Jensen Port. Kasi as it is right now, sa tagal-tagal na po, remember yung Dole Philippines is in Soc-Sargent, the tuna is in Soc-Sargent, so maraming industries, particularly agriculture, is in Soc-Sargent. It's a growth area. So no matter kung it's a growth area, but yung port mo naman hindi makakompete, and it does not help in reducing cost because most of the vessels there, lalo na sa importation, are still using a self-sustaining vessel kasi walang container. So that is more expensive. So the idea, if you give the port, ipa-concession mo yan, wala ring taker yan. Kasi yung volume mababa. So I believe in the concept of we will build it, they will come. So if you put the crane and improve the wharf and then ipa-concession mo to a very efficient operator and with a marketing expertise, bababa yung cost mo at the same time makakatulong for the volume. So my question now, because three years ago, there was already, may plano na yung PPA tungkol sa Jensen Port. So now I'm a comebacking congressman. I wanted to know, kasi wala naman ako nakita for the last 3 years, what is the plan of PPA with respect to modernizing the Jensen Port?
With the permission of our Secretary, Mr. Chair. Thank you very much for the question of the Honorable Representative from South Cotabato. Your Honor, tama po yung sinabi ni Representative Hernandez na talaga pong tuloy-tuloy yung engagement namin with Representative Hernandez from the last time, sir, that you were here. Pinag-uusapan na po natin talaga yung Makar Wharf po, no, sa General Santos. And as part of the continuing development po ng General Santos Port, nakaprograma na po talaga sa PPA na mag-i-install po tayo dyan ng key crane po, ano. At ang rason po dyan, tama po yung sinasabi nyo na although the intention po talaga ng lahat ng ating terminals is to privatize and to concession out the service, nakikita po namin na para mas maging reasonable po yung taripa, yung charges sa port, kailangan po magkaroon ng investment ang pamahalaan para po kung sino man na mag-ooperate po ng ating mga terminal ay hindi po hihingi ng napakataas na taripa na isisingilin din po sa mga port users po natin, ano? At yan po, ang ganyang modelo po ang ating ginawa po doon sa ating container terminal po, ang ating Visayas Container Terminal sa Iloilo, kung saan po inunahan na po natin ng pag-acquire ng key crane at sumunod po ay ating kinonsession out. Yan din po ang gagawin po natin sa General Santos. Ano? Tayo po ay magpo-procure ng key crane sa General Santos at kasabayan po niyan after po ng procurement, yan po ay ating ibibid out. Nagkataon lamang po na talagang nung mga nakaraang taon pa po natin talagang gustong i-bid out po yan. Pero sa tuluyan po kasing pakikipag-ugnayan, Your Honor, sa mga port users po, pati na din po sa Regional Development Council, ay medyo nagkakapabalik-balik po ng suggestion at saka ng mga inputs po kung paano po isa sa katuparan yung privatization. At inabot na din po ito ng pag-amyenda po sa PPP Code kung saan po yung dating requirement po sana ng pagbibid out ng PPA ay nadagdagan po yung requirement para makatupad lang po doon sa mga requirement po sa bagong batas sa public-private partnership. Pero makakaasa po kayo, Your Honor, na tuluyan pa po at porsigido po ang PPA na i-privatize po yung General Santos port po natin at porsigido pa rin po kami na lalagyan po natin ng key crane yan whether mabid out po yan o hindi. Maraming salamat po.
Thank you for that report, no? Siguro kailangan din natin i-explain na this is quite a unique situation, 'di ba? Na if you outright bid it and for the concessionaire to put all this investment, definitely unang-una baka walang pumatol because of the volume. Pangalawa, talagang tataas yung taripa mo. Ngayon, if you put the crane, strengthen the wharf, bid it out, so doon mo makikita na wala siyang major investment. Ang commitment niya is efficiency and marketing, volume. When you say volume, that means money for the government. So magiging self-sustaining din yung self-liquidating pati yung sa equipment mo. Kasi para maintindihan ng iba na, for example, that's what happened in Subic because I was there, no, from the start until it became a major port. Nung umpisa ko yan, walang laman yan eh, diba? So, thank you for that update. So, I'll just move to another one. Yung Jensen Airport was funded during the time of Pinoy. Instrumental ako sa pagpondo ng terminal. So, wala pang volume. Ngayon, marami ng flights. So, we don't stop by putting up the terminal. And then, dapat may foresight. We plan. Ang tanong ko lang sa DOTR, what's your plan in the next 3 years? When will it be an international airport? Is it capable to handle international passenger, cargo? So what's the plan of DOTR? Para naman, it's easier to market SOC Sargent outside. Hindi lang domestic, of course, internationally.
With the permission of the Secretary, Mr. Chair.
Please wrap up.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Sa pakikipag-ugnayan po namin kay Kong Hernandez, nagkaroon po tayo ng initial talks. Nakita po namin, meron po kaming nahinto na plano. Aerotropolis po yung tawag doon. Nakipag-ugnayan po kami sa mga private sector. Binubuhay po namin ngayon yon. Kasama po yon doon sa gagawin naming master plan. Tama po kayo, meron po kaming nabuo na initial pero hindi po natuloy. Admittedly, naging reactive po ang CAAP sa pagdevelop ng General Santos Airport dahil we were overtaken by events. Nung nagkaroon ng pandemic, lumaki agad. After natin makarecover sa pandemic, medyo lumakas po yung demand. Kaya ang ginawa po natin, nagdagdag lang tayo ng additional space para magkaroon po ng lugar yung mga pasahero na sumasakay. Yun po yung isa naming maire-report, Congressman. Ang susunod po, Mr. Chair, is yung readiness niya for international operations. Ang General Santos Airport po is ready as it is now to accept regional international flights. But we will not stop there. Kapag nabuo po yung plan, magkakaroon po tayo ng mas detalyadong plano kung paano po yung international flight. Ngayon po ang kulang para sa immediate international flight, CIQ provision po, yung Customs, Immigrations, and Quarantine. For that, meron po tayong nailaan na budget for next year na 92 million po for the readiness, at least po yung passenger terminal bill. But the air side, we were told that it's ready for international operation, Mr. Chair. Salamat po.
So kailan natin papalitan yan na General Santos International Airport?
We were hoping, sir, once we have the CIQ, then it can already be, once meron na pong pumasok, pwede na po siya talagang true to its name, General Santos International Airport. Because as it is, pag meron po nag-apply and then gagawin po namin yung CIQ, we can accommodate them already. If I recall, Mr. Chair, previously, nasabi ko rin po kanina, during the pandemic, this is one of the airports that is being considered to mount international flights for our OFW being repatriated, and this was made ready for that. Nagkaroon lang po ng problema because nagkulang po tayo ng mga tauhan coming from our customs, immigrations, and quarantine.
Yeah, but we have the international port. CIQ rin yan nandyan. So easier for them to also do the documentation at the airport kasi may CIQ na eh.
Yes, sir. We completely agree po. We will continue to coordinate with them. But ang request lang po namin talaga is mabigyan po kami ng few months para ma-ready kung saan sila ilalagay. Kasi kailangan po ng separation ng domestic tsaka international para hindi po maghalo yung mga pasahero.
So una-una, salamat sa plano nyo. Sana bilisan na lang natin. At saka hindi lang ito yung binuhay mo. Kasi pag sinabing binuhay mo, parang galing yan sa ghost eh. 'Di ba? Wala naman yatang ghost project dyan. So,
Wala po.
sana, I mean, if that is the direction, well, of course we need DOTR to announce it that Jensen Airport is capable of accepting international flights with CIQ and it should be renamed General Santos International Airport. So, one last question, Mr. Chair. Yung hindi makatarungang increase ng airfare, what is DOTR doing about it? Kasi kung tutuusin, like if you fly to Jensen, on a weekend, bigla kang lilipad doon, siguro 15,000. Diba? 12 to 15,000. Mabuti pa, lumipad ka na lang sa Hong Kong or other countries in Asia. It's cheaper. Why is it, why do we have that kind of situation that it's more expensive flying domestically rather than flying internationally?
Thank you for that question, Your Honor, through the chair. Medyo pasensya po kayo, medyo malalim yung sagot ng konti. Pagka pumura yung pamasahe sa Hong Kong or sa Japan, ang ibig po sabihin nun, mababa yung load factor. Konti po ang sumasakay, lugi po yung airline. Kaya yung nabebenta mga ticket, yung pong mga mabababang fares. Kasi ang mga fares po ngayon, merong tinatawag na buckets. So, pagka po sa una, ang nabebenta po yung mga lower buckets, yun po ang unang bibili ng tao. Pagkatapos, pag naubos na yun, yun ang mga mahal, pataas ng pataas. Pero pagka po walang masyadong load factor, mababa, yung pong mga mabibili yung nasa baba, hindi nila may tataas doon sa higher level po yung fare.
Let me interject. Ibig sabihin, pag kumikita, lalo na lang samantalahin. Dahil hindi naman nakukulangan ng pasahero.
Meron po kami tinatawag na yung monitoring ng distribution ng fares. Ang tinitingnan po namin yung tinatawag natin na average fares ng ruta. Kasi meron pong highest fare, merong medium fares, merong low fares. Ang tinitingnan po namin, ilan ang nabibiling low fares, ilan ang nabibiling high fares, ilan ang medium, para makuha namin yung average fares. Ngayon po, ang isang mahalaga po sa amin, marami bang nabebentang low fares para sa mga mamamayan. Pagka po maraming nabebentang, nakuha din namin yung average fares, medyo okay na po sa amin yun. Ngayon ang tanong po, bakit pag bibili ka bukas, mahal? Kasi ang nauubos na po yung mura eh. Yung pong mahal na natitira. Ngayon, kung ang itatanong po, parang sinasubsidize ko yung mga mababang fares. Totoo po yun.
No, but even on a regular fare, it's still expensive.
Tulad po sir, nung ano pong ruta yan? Kung matanong ko lang po.
Jensen. Manila Jensen.
Depende po sa kung anong araw binili po yun. Kung malapit na po yung...
I fully understand. Pagka malapit, medyo mahal. Pero even on a regular fare, mahal pa rin siya compared to yung lilipat ka sa ibang countries.
Meron po kasi ang mga airline po, meron tinatawag na cross-subsidy within the network. Kasi kailangan po ng isang airline na magkaroon siya ng broad and integrated network. Kahit po nalulugi yung isang ruta, tinutuloy po nila yan. Kasi maaari pong nag-feed yan doon sa isang hub nila para mabuo yung network.
Pero definitely hindi nalulugi yung Jensen Airport, parating puno yun eh, di ba? So,
Pwede po.
well, what I'm asking DOTR, you know, kung hinihingi nung iba, let's say in a cargo, mahal magpa-ship ng cargo Manila to Jensen, it's easier for an international cargo coming from Manila, loaded, going to Jensen. Mas mura pa yon eh, kaysa sa domestic freight, di ba? Isa pa rin yan. I think, dapat yan i-unbundle yung fare and we will see why are they charging exorbitantly that in fact domestic naman to. Di ba dapat tinutulungan tayo para mas mag-unlad tayo?
Sir, if I can answer that po. Pinag-aaralan din po namin yung comparative, meron po kaming comparative analysis ng fares ng comparable distance ng domestic sa ibang bansa. At nakikita po natin na comparable naman yung atin. At kung minsan, mas mababa pa yung ating average fares. Kasi po mahal din ang domestic dahil yung per distance, unit distance po niya mas mahal dahil take-off and landing masyado pong mahal ang konsumo ng gasolina. Pangalawa, yung pong tinatawag na cycle, yung pong compression, decompression, malakas po ang maintenance ng eroplano pagka madalas yung up and down. Kaya ang unit cost po per kilometer no talagang mataas. Ang ginagawa po namin, ikukumpara po namin yan doon sa mga comparable routes sa ibang bansa, Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand. At lumalabas po ang mga study ng mga analytics provider. At doon din sa mga costing namin, lumalabas na comparable, minsan mas mababa pa yung average natin.
Representative Hernandez, time's up for the third round.
Mr. Chair, I think before Secretary Vince left the OTR, inintay ko siya nung last consultation, this dumating because may meeting siya with the airlines because of this. And I hope wag nating tigilan to. I mean, you owe it to the public, as DOTR, to explain bakit ganun yung airfare sa domestic. So karamihan maririnig mo, lumipad ka na lang, magbakasyon ka na sa ibang country sa Asia, you're better off in terms of airfare than fly. Kami, siyempre may obligasyon kami, may constituents kami, kailangan namin bumalik. Diba? So imagine yung cost namin if you fly every week, 'di ba? Makikita mo talagang ang laki nung gastos namin. So Secretary,
Mr. Chair,
ipatuloy nyo sana yung pag-dialogue nyo dyan.
we will do it, Mr. Chair.
Thank you. We'll have a 5-minute break due to technical reasons.